Just answering questions with WapTech, reading the title, 4chan anon placeholder name Richard versus Ricky Matthew Allen. 4chan user decided to, instead of saying bridge guy or BG or any other wording or expression that might get censored, yes, that happens on 4chan because of moderators, decided to use a placeholder name, Richard, for the killer. And this was done in disturbing comment threads with horrible language and ideas about the victims. Now, I want to point out that every time there's a mass shooting, people put up a specific picture of a person who is literally the placeholder for unknown mass shooter will use his face. In fact, he's actually told people, stop doing that for a long time, because every time it's a shooting, it's a meme that you immediately post that to see which news agency will refuse to double check anything and put it up as a picture of the suspect. This goes under the meme of pic unrelated. The picture's not related, but I'm sticking it in here because on an image board, to post something for starting a thread, you have to use an image. It's an image board. So they would use this other guy, I'm not naming him, as the placeholder for every mass shooter until the picture was released. And also his name, Sam Hyde. This is an example of the Sam Hyde meme. Instead of using Sam Hyde, which, by the way, would get you banned on 4chan by even saying his name or putting up a picture if it can figure it out, someone decided to use Richard. The nickname for anybody named Richard is Dick. And again, this is a thread where people are saying all sorts of nasty things. On the 7th of March, 2020, at around noon, a poster on that thread claimed that the origin for this Richard being a meme, literally the word meme, or a placeholder as I'm calling it, or a Sam Hyde, came, and that's actually what you call it, this is a Sam Hyde, don't take it seriously, came from an unlinked, week-old thread, because apparently on 4chan, where you can easily include the link back to where you're getting your data from, this person refused to do so, or it was already deleted. Anyway, from memory, totally reliable, they said that another anon claimed to be from the town, seemed knowledgeable about the case, and put in the name Richard at one point, and it's being called a name drop. But the person claimed afterwards, oh, that was a mistake, an autocorrect, or maybe cut and paste. I'm inserting the rest of that because, again, this individual isn't linking back to the original claims by the original poster who said, no, the person isn't named Richard. So even the original source is claiming from an original source, Game of Telephone, and saying the person said it was an autocorrect mistake. Or more likely, the person cut and paste what they were saying, because if you're on 4chan, you learn to cut and paste everything. You type up everything and then you cut and paste it so that it doesn't sit there and time you out while you're trying to type it, because it makes you fill in a little thing where it says what's 1 + 1 + 2, and you have to type out the answer. The original poster backtracked hard after other anons pressed him on the name. But posting that almost immediately it disabled the explanation. That explanation, almost immediately disabled the discussion of anybody named Richard being involved. It's a placeholder name, like Sam Hyde, or a picture of Sam Hyde. Now, I want to point out something here that's kind of coinky-dinky. In order for me to give you links to any of this, which are archived, even though they're archived, contain no pornography, and YouTube is flagging me for hate speech, pornography, they're coming up with an excuse. They're spinning a wheel of stupid excuses. They're trying to shut down a couple of videos I did, and I found out why. It's because they came up in the news recently, and because all of us talking about it outnumber CNN and Fox by 80-1. They're just killing off videos during any news story. They're just erasing your videos. They're not flagging your account. They're just shutting you up because then they won't let you upload. And then they won't respond when you contest it. But anyway, here we go. If you want any of the links to this, there'll be one link below that's an archive, and that archive will link to a copy of an imager that's an archive that contains a list of archives, because it has to be multiple layers deep before YouTube stops flagging me. Anyway, on 4chan, to avoid getting banned, you have to use pseudonyms, or you have to fight the word filter. So that's what Richard was. Anyway, on Wikipedia, the same day, someone came in as an IP address and edited the Wikipedia captions for the updated sketch and distributed photograph sketch, or whatever, of the suspect, and instead of saying suspect, it said Richard. And then the next day, that's the only two edits a person did. the Wikipedia talk page had a chastising. Do not introduce incorrect information into articles, as you did with the murders of Abigail Williams and Liberty German. Your edits could be interpreted as vandalism and have been reverted. So some of my sentiments. So let's review. Like Sam Hyde and his picture, Richard was used for a very short time as a dead meme for being the name of this, not mass murderer, but double murderer. That's it. Instead of, now I want to point out when there's like mythology of like people being involved in altercations and their names being used, like David and Goliath. If a person killed an overarching foe that we could all take as being bad, you might say this person is a David. Or if there's a mass murder, it's a Sam Hyde. And in this case, they decided to use Richard, again, a really poor meme, for the name for an unknown killer of 2 kids. No, it wasn't a prediction that it was Richard. No, it isn't, because everyone was postulating that it could be various Richards, but not the right one. And again, I'm going to repeat the meme I did before that pissed off somebody who decided to come after me. Everybody who claimed to be a sleuth, who claimed to have insider information, who used Ouija boards and tarot cards and claimed to be able to mystically channel the dead, always named people completely unrelated to this individual, who is the person who's been arrested. The person who's been arrested, Ricky or Richard Matthew Allen, I think that's his name, maybe I'm getting it wrong, I don't assume I'm right, was never named by anybody until the police divulged it. Again, sleuthing communities that witch hunted random people who owe them a major amount of apologies and maybe are going to get taken to court for literally demonizing him and witch hunting him, is what I was complaining about, because the actual named probable killer, this is the one who's been accused, so far we don't know all the details, was never mentioned by any of these super sleuths who claim to have insider information, being able to channel the dead, and all sorts of hokey shit. It's the thing I've been complaining about from the beginning, and no, it's not what I do. Demonizing random people because they had an axe to grind, or deciding they had to be the only ones because they were the only ones by process of elimination, or just going after people who refused to make a comment because they were being harassed and didn't like it. That's why the court system forbids this, and that's also why the case is effectively sealed, locked down, and there's a media blackout. Because they don't want a bunch of people screwing it up and randomly killing somebody who's the next door neighbor of the guy. And yeah, because this is in the news, because I'm covering the subject, YouTube will look through every detail in this video where I'm talking and everything I've typed up to look for any excuse to flag it for frickin' anything they can come up with. Because it might trend, because I might get some views. Again, on 4chan and many other forums, where you're required, in those cases, to start a thread by putting up a picture or doing some other, barrier to entry thing. People would put up a picture of a particular person called Sam Hyde and use them as the placeholder for murderers of large numbers of people. They don't have one for murderers of 2 people in the forest. Somebody came up with this and decided Richard. Why? Because, well, I heard somewhere it was a Richard, and then, no, it was somebody who typed it out. And then finally it turned out to be an autocorrect mistake or somebody cutting and pasting the name Richard at random. And again, everybody that was brought up, nobody brought up Richard, the right one. Random other people, who also, by the way, did actually get harassed, including people who were nowhere near the place during that area at that time. Okay, so repeating. The 4chan anon placeholder name Richard is an example of a Sam Hyde, or a picture of Sam Hyde. And it was used as a failed meme or in a failed attempt to come up with a placeholder name. It died pretty much as soon as it started, and the only effect it had outside of 4chan, as far as I can tell, is somebody inserting it as a joke on Wikipedia. Archives below in the description will all be put on one archive someplace else because YouTube won't let us talk about stuff, because they want the news, mainstream media, to come up first, not us. Thanks for watching. Have a good day. Good luck with that, and watch out.